Hi guys, this is Anmol Talwar and welcome back to another video with Talent Catalyst AI, where we strive to give you industry-specific artificial intelligence knowledge which will surely help you grow in your career ahead. With a work experience of over 7 years, I have handled projects related to natural language processing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and generative AI across industries such as banking, pharmaceutical, financial, as well as marketing technology. So, let the learning begin. So, topic for today's discussion is prompt engineering. After we have discussed in my previous video what exactly is prompt, in this particular video we'll be introducing what exactly is prompt engineering with respect to generative AI. We'll be looking into the key strategies, what should be implemented for prompt engineering, for effective prompt engineering, and thirdly we'll be discussing the types of prompt engineering in this video. So let's start by introducing prompt engineering in generative AI. But prior to understanding what exactly prompt engineering means, one needs to understand the meaning of prompt, right? So as discussed in the last video, prompt is essentially an instruction that has been given to a generative AI model to drive the output, correct? To give an example, let's say we want a generative AI model to write an essay that is a text generation use case, right? We want the model, generative AI model or the LLM to write a essay on climate change, right? The prompt that will go into the generative AI model, that is the instruction that we want for the model to follow, is write me an essay describing the climate changes in the today's world, right? This is the prompt that will give, and it will give us an essay over climate change. This is the meaning of prompt. Now coming to prompt engineering. Prompt engineering involves crafting the prompts in a strategic way to steer the model output or the model towards generating the desired output. So two things to mark over here, that is a strategic way and generating the desired output. Now let's say if we talk about prompt engineering, right? In this particular case, let's say the desired output which you wanted essentially was it should have two things specifically, that this particular essay about climate change should have at max 2000 words. The maximum words that this essay should have had is 2000 words, and of all the causes of climate change currently, you wanted the essay to highlight the pollution, that is the pollution that is causing the climate change. Essentially wanted the essay to highlight this particular topic, but since you specifically did not mention these 2 points in the prompt that you had given earlier, the essay that is generated, the text that has been generated by the generative AI model would not match your expectations. So if you would have explicitly mentioned that you need these two things, that is 2000 words, the essay should be of at max 2000 words, and the essay should highlight the pollution as the cause of climate change, the essay would be matching, the output essay would have been matching the expectations or the desired output by you. This is what is called prompt engineering, matching the output to the desired output or the expectations of the end user, right? So effective prompt engineering can significantly influence the output of the model, like we just saw over here. If we would have given these 2 points specifically, explicitly to the model, the output would have been totally different as compared to when we had given a generic prompt just to get an essay, a generic essay, right? The second is help to control the content towards certain characteristics or desired outcomes. So this is synonymous to what we had discussed. So we wanted the desired outcome to have these two specific things to be embedded. So we should have strategized the prompt in such a way by giving these two things specifically, which would have helped control the characteristics, those two specific characteristics which would have matched the desired outcome. Also, prompt engineering will enhance the efficiency and productivity by reducing the need for repeated trials and errors. So for in this particular example, let's say I did not go ahead with this particular prompt in the first place and went ahead with the engineered prompt, I would have got the desired output in the first go, or let's say I would have got it in the second go maximum, right? But given that I had gone with the generic prompt, I would have to repeat the process of enhancing the prompt multiple times to get to the desired output, as compared to the, if I would have given the engineered prompt at the first place, I would have saved time and would not have to go through the process of trial and error each time. So the last thing that prompt engineering helps in is combining all these three. It will obviously enhance the user experience. How? By getting to the desired output or matching the expectations of the user, essentially. Coming to the second thing, that is the key strategies for enhancing the prompts or engineering the prompts in an effective way, right? The first one is writing clear instructions. The second one is providing reference text or context to the generative AI model. The third one is splitting complex tasks, and the fourth one is giving model time to think. Now we'll discuss each of these four in depth. Coming to the first one, that is writing clear instructions. To understand this, we'll go through this particular example. Let's say the objective of this particular use case is, I am a PhD student, right, pursuing a research project, and I want the generative AI model to write me an outline for my research project. This is the overall objective, correct? The first prompt that I have given to the model is write an outline for the research project that includes a title and next steps. So you see, this is a very generic prompt, correct? Now let's come to the second one, that is P2. Here what I'll say is, act as a academician and write an outline for the academic research proposal that includes sections for title, summary and next steps. The proposal should contain a maximum of 1000 words. So see the difference between these two. In the second one, I am explicitly asking for the model to go through a certain steps to produce the outline, right? So I have a desired output in mind, I have certain expectations, and I am explicitly instructing the model to do that, as opposed to what I am doing in P1. I am just giving a generic prompt, whatever comes to the mind of the model, it will generate the outline based on that. But in second prompt, I am specifically mentioning a few things, that is, I am asking the model to behave as an academician. I am asking it to have the summary included, which I didn't ask it over here, and I am asking explicitly that the length of that particular outline should not cross 1000 words. So this is what is meant by writing clear instructions, which will help understand the generative AI model match your expectations. So the tactics for this is include details in your query to get more relevant answers. The things that we included, specifically summary and 1000 words. Ask the model to opt a persona. That is what we did. We asked the model to behave as an academician. Academician, why? Because we wanted to write an outline for a research paper, and this is what academicians do. This is their profession. So we asked it to adopt the persona of an academician specifically. Use delimiters to clearly indicate distinct parts of the input. Over here, the delimiters are comma, spaces, full stops that have to be defined clearly. Specify the steps required to complete the task. We mentioned what are the things that we need in a specific manner. Provide examples, this can also be done, and specify the desired length of the output. We explicitly mentioned over here that we want an output of 1000 words, not more than that. So these are some of the tactics that can be used to enhance the output of the generative AI model using prompt engineering, wherein we include specific instructions, specific and clear instructions for the model to follow. Now coming to the second one, that is providing reference text, or it is also known as providing context to the large language model, right? Many times what happens is, there are certain topics to which the model or the LLM is not exposed to. If you ask questions related to those topics, it will give you wrong answers, or sometimes it will try to invent fake answers. The reason is, while developing this model or training this model, the training data essentially didn't have this particular topic, so the model lacks the knowledge on that particular topic, and when you ask the question, since it doesn't have the knowledge of that particular topic, it will give you wrong or fake answers. To avoid this particular thing of getting wrong answers, what we do is provide context, right? For instance, let's say we were to build a chatbot, Q&A, conversational AI, that is a Q&A chatbot, where the this particular chatbot would be answering questions only related to climate change, right? Any topic related to climate change. If a user asks any question related to climate change, this chatbot should be able to answer that question. Now let's say you chose an LLM which lacked the knowledge of climate change, and the user, since the user is asking question related to that, the user is getting wrong or fake answers. But what you do is, now you introduce context. What is meaning by context? Let's say on web you encountered a document containing, let's say, thousands of pages related to climate change and its causes in the current world, right? What you do is you feed this particular document containing the knowledge of or the context of climate change and its causes. You feed it to the LLM. Now what happens is, the questions that are being asked by the user in that particular chatbot will be referenced through this particular context or the document, and the user will get the required or the desired or the expected output or the answers from the chatbot. This is what providing the context essentially means. Coming to the third important strategy in effective prompt engineering, that is splitting complex tasks into simpler subtasks. Let's forget about artificial intelligence for once and focus on our biological intelligence. If I were to ask you to solve a complex mathematical problem at once, you'd probably fail in that. The answer that you will get would be probably wrong, because complex tasks tend to have higher error rates as compared to the simpler tasks. It goes for both biological intelligence as well as artificial intelligence, because both work on the same principle, right? They mimic each other. So coming to this example, if I were to give this particular problem for the generative AI model to solve at once, it might give me a wrong answer. But if I break this particular task into smaller subtasks, asking it to perform this particular operation using BOD-mass, which we already know what it is, what it will do is, it will try to first get all the things done within the brackets. That is the first subtask, that is 2 cross 2, it will get it as 4. Then it will get 3 minus 2 as 1, and then it will have this particular step. Then the second subtask of it would be 4 plus, and then it will try to multiply, because multiplication comes before addition. It will do this 1 into 5, 5, and then it will go for addition of 4 and 5, that is 9. We are breaking the complex task that was assigned to generative AI model into smaller or simpler subtasks using BOD-mass, right? We are giving it the instruction to follow a simpler route using breaking that particular problem, a complex mathematical problem, down using BOD-mass, so that the answer that we get at the end is less prone to error as compared to if I were to ask the model to do it at once, the probability of error would have been higher. Coming to the fourth strategy, that is giving model time to think, right? In your previous experiences, when you give any exam, you encounter a lot of questions. What is your strategy to answer any question? Is it that you directly come to a conclusion or the answer without thinking over that question, or you give time to think over it, ponder over it, comprehend the question, and then give an answer? Probably the second one, where you think over the question and then answer, because the chances of that answer being correct is higher as compared to when you directly jump to a conclusion. This is what happens to generative AI models as well. They also need time to think, because they also mimic our biological human brain. So we need to explicitly instruct the model to take time and think over the solution that it is processing, and ask the model to check if it has missed out on any previous processes. I'll explain this using this example where we are asking the generative AI model to predict the last number based on the sequence that it sees. What happens over here is, this particular thing becomes 2, 4 plus 2, correct? Now this particular thing becomes 10, 4 cross 4 plus 2. So obviously the last one would be 42 cross 4 plus 2, right? For the model to think over it and to identify the previous sequences, we are asking the model explicitly to think over it and to check if it has missed out on any of the past sequences. If it has recognized the past sequences in a wrong manner, check that as well. This will give the model time to think and get us the right answer. So all the 4 strategies that we discussed for effective prompting can be summed up into these 5 major categories of prompt engineering, namely zero shot prompting. It is also called as prompt prefixing. Then we have one shot prompting, we have a few shot prompting. Coming to the fourth one, we have chain of thought prompting, and the fifth one, self refinement prompting. All of these 5 types, the major types, will be covering with practical examples on Python Notebook in the upcoming videos of generative AI. So please stay tuned. Please do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more such informative videos related to artificial intelligence. Thank you.